In this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board Podcast, James and I, we're going to talk about the chaos. We're going to give our analysis and recap the first round of the 2025 NBA Draft. Big shout out to each and every person that has made the Locked On NBA Big Board Podcast your first listen of the day. I'm your host, Rafael Barlowe, along with my co-host, who happens to be my brother James. If you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please subscribe, like, share, comment, and click the bell so you can be notified every time we drop an episode. As you can see, we are here in Brooklyn. It is 12:44 a.m. Eastern Time. We're still at the Barclays Center. We're just, man, what a crazy, crazy first round. First of all, I want to say, I got two things to say. Thankful to be here. Last year on draft day, I was at the hospital. My wife was diagnosed with cancer earlier in 2024, and draft day was like, the day that I worked so hard for, the day that I spent all my time preparing for. And last year on draft day was her first day starting chemotherapy. So it was kind of, it was tough for me last year. And then another thing, today's my last episode. Well, actually, you know what? Tomorrow. I got a couple more in me. But my last episode is after the second round of
You're supposed to do the Vince Carter. I got one more in me.
my last episode for the Locked On NBA Big Board Podcast will be after the second round of the 2025 NBA Draft. All right, let's get right into it. All right. What was the biggest shocker for you tonight?
There's so many of them.
But which one caught you by surprise? Like, which one was like, I can't believe that happened?
I can't believe the Brooklyn Nets took Egor Demin, number 8. I had Egor going 19.
I'm at 18.
I think 8 was a little bit of a stretch. And I guess you could really say their whole draft night was like a big surprise, considering they took Nolan Traore. They also took Danny Wolf. Not mad at the Danny Wolf pick. They took Ben Surratt. So they essentially took 3 point guards and Drake Powell and a playmaking big and Danny Wolf.
Well, Brooklyn is a melting pot of different cultures and so on. So you have an Israeli combo guard, a Russian point guard, and a French point guard. And Danny Wolf, I guess he played for Israel a couple years ago. To me, that wasn't the biggest shocker. I mean, we knew that Egor was going to be a first-round pick. We knew that his range. Though? I was told his range was from 8 to 19. But our guy Hanson Yang at number 16.
Youngsters.
Well, I guess he got drafted by Memphis, but he's going to Portland.
Yes.
Now, I'm a big Hanson Yang fan. I feel like, we've been driving the Hanson Yang hype train for over a year now.
Almost 2.
But Portland, that move doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, it makes sense to me because I feel like you got to move on from DeAndre Ayton. And, Donovan Clingan is probably your big of the future. But at the same time, Donovan Clingan fouls a lot. So maybe Hanson, it's like you have an insurance policy for Clingan and his injury concerns / fouling. And, these Yang is extremely talented. And who's to say that this isn't what the Nuggets did a while back when they had Yusuf Nurkic and Jokic, and it was like, we're going to figure it out. You're going to have to play one of these bigs. And
that was 2, though. The Blazers got Ayton, Robert Williams, Donovan Clingan.
Yeah.
You drafted back-to-back, like, traditional non-floor. I mean, Clingan's not a floor pitch, but you drafted back-to-back traditional bigs in back-to-back drafts after trading for Ayton the year before. I mean, there has to be a move brewing, but
probably so.
Hanson Yang. Man, when that trade was announced, my phone was blowing up.
Mine was too.
People had different things to say. We actually saw Hanson in the hallway before the game, and
before the draft.
Before the draft. And he's like, "What's up, man?" He was like, "What's up? What's up?" So, shout out to whoever it is in China that has been putting our content and translating it in Chinese, because I've been told that we have a lot of fans in China. So shout out to the people in China. I used to live in China, so special place to me. But that was the biggest shocker for me. Hanson Yang, he wasn't invited to the green room, and he went number 16 overall. I thought there's no way that the Brooklyn Nets, with their 5 first-round picks, but they had 4 up until a couple of days ago. But I thought that, all right, his range is, I've heard 20 to 30, then I heard 25 to 35.
We heard from people from really close to him on the American side, and they didn't mention his range being 16.
No. I mean, they told us maybe top 20. So with that being said, I was totally shocked. And yeah, man, I'm happy for Hanson.
Yeah, man.
I think he's going to be good. What's interesting is during the NBA Combine, I sat with like some of the Blazers staff, and they weren't. Some of the people that I sat with weren't impressed by him, and they were like, "What do you like about him so much?" And they're like, well, "What does he do on the NBA level?" I was like, "He can rebound, he can score in the post," and then maybe like 20 minutes later,
he threw that pass. Yeah.
And I was like, you see, so to me, Hanson Yang was the biggest surprise, but Egor at number 8 was a massive surprise.
I got one for you. Collin Murray-Boyles at number 9 to Toronto was a surprise, considering I know people were high on Collin Murray-Boyles, but like that fit is going to be interesting because he's a small ball 5 and a small power forward's frame, and Toronto already needed shooting. I thought that they were going to go with Maluach, who was there, and they decided to go with Collin Murray-Boyles. You know, Masai's got, you know, he's got juice up there. He can make these picks. And, you know, Essengue was also there if you were going to go with somebody who was going to be an energy guy. So yeah, that's an interesting pick. One of the bigger surprises for me.
Yeah, the Raptors were 29th in three-pointers made per game, and they went with a 6'7", undersized big who doesn't space the floor. What's interesting is that Murray-Boyles is a guy that he's somewhat polarizing because the analytics-friendly guys love him. Like he, you know, analytically he was off the charts, but the guys that kind of watch the eye test are more like, oh, I don't know how it fits. And I didn't think he would go that high at 9. I mean, there were rumors that he would. We knew that there's some people that liked him. I thought he was pretty divisive, but I was very shocked that he went number 9. And to me, everything that I heard going into this draft was that Khaman Maluach's floor was Toronto at number 9. And to see the Raptors pass him up when he's like the ultimate like Masai,
well,
pick.
He changed his mind apparently.
That was pretty interesting to me. All right, up next, we're going to dig a little deeper into some of the surprises from the 2025 first round, or the first round of the 2025 NBA draft. There is absolutely nothing like stepping into your own outdoor space and feeling like you've escaped to your own personal oasis. And if you are wanting to update your patio this season, Wayfair has made it so easy to turn your space into a comfortable, stylish, and fun spot to hang out this summer. And Wayfair has everything that you need to level up your outdoor space, whether it's conversation sets, outdoor bars, fire pits, hot tubs, gazebos, and yes, even the perfect string of lights to set the vibe. It's like giving your backyard a personal resort feel without the resort price tag. So what do you want to do with your backyard? Are you looking for an outdoor dining set or some modern lounge chairs? Whatever you're looking for, the delivery is free, it is fast, and it is totally hassle-free, even with larger items. So don't wait. Make your outdoor space your dream oasis today with Wayfair and enjoy it all summer long. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop a huge outdoor selection. It is WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. All right, let's just talk about what was not a surprise. Cooper Flagg going to the Dallas Mavericks. What do you think about that fit for Dallas? And then what do you expect from Cooper in his rookie year?
I think Cooper Flagg fits anywhere and everywhere. I do think he'll have an opportunity early on to, you know, handle the ball some as Dallas is trying to figure out what they're going to do at the point guard position. It's going to probably be by committee. There's the D'Angelo Russell rumors. We know Kyrie just re-signed, but he's not, you know, ready to come back yet from his ACL injury. So I think Cooper's going to be fine. They just brought Gafford back in for.
I think that's a tradable guy.
You're probably right about that, but I think Cooper Flagg is going to be fine. Yeah, it was a no-brainer pick, and it still doesn't feel real that the Mavs traded Luka Doncic and then got Cooper Flagg.
Yeah. What do you think about Dylan Harper to San Antonio? I'm not a big fan of the fit. You have three guards. I don't know if they necessarily complement each other. I know the Spurs fans are going to come for me. The Spurs could draft me, and I feel like the Spurs fans would defend that pick. But I just think that Harper is best with the ball in his hands. Fox has been up and down shooting throughout his career. I know he shot 37% from three the last year before he got traded to San Antonio, and he had some hand issues this year, and the shooting numbers went down. But he shot 37% from three in his second year in the NBA, so he's been somewhat of a streaky shooter. I'm not a big fan of the fit, but obviously San Antonio took the best player available, and they're going to figure out a way to make it work. And if it doesn't work, you got an asset that you can move out of either of those guys.
Right.
You can pick up somebody else. VJ Edgecombe, what do you think about the fit in Philly?
I would have still taken Ace.
Same here.
If I was Philadelphia. And that's not any disrespect to VJ Edgecombe. I just feel like, Ace, if you're going to go, there's no difference as far as like who will be able to contribute right away. You know what I'm saying? Because you have guard depth. And I feel like the Sixers have a need for more of a wing than a two. VJ Edgecombe, if we're talking about his best assets being his athleticism and his motor and maybe the defensive upside, but he's going to have to guard twos and threes, where I feel like Ace, with his length could have had, defended twos, threes, and maybe some fours. I would have went with Ace. Clearly Danny Ainge didn't care about, Ace's request, so why should Daryl Morey? But hey, what do I know?
So Kon Knueppel, the worst kept secret in the 2025 NBA draft. I feel like other than Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper, Kon Knueppel was the only guy that went to bed Tuesday night that knew where he was going, and he ends up going 4 to Charlotte. Safe pick. I think he has the high floor. He fits with what they're doing. Me personally, I would have went with the guy with the higher upside, which is Ace Bailey, which leads us to Utah at number 5. Utah and Danny Ainge and Austin Ainge said, you know what, forget the noise. We don't care about the rumors that you want to go to Washington or New Orleans or Brooklyn. We don't care about the geographical preferences. We don't care
about any of that stuff.
About any of that stuff. Come on, brother.
Hey, look.
Come on to Salt Lake.
But
number 5, and I like the move.
And here's the thing. It's a great place for Ace to play.
It's a great place for Ace to play. The guys that they have taken on the wings the last couple years.
He's in a great spot. Minus it, if Utah's not your first choice, I understand, and that's fine, but they're going to welcome him with open arms. He's going to have every opportunity to get better, to have the ball in his hands. Like, he's in a great spot. Sometimes these things work out the way they're supposed to work. It's not the same thing. You remember when Chris Webber was like, man, I don't want to go to Sacramento. And, that was a great spot.
He was talking about, man, they didn't have soul food.
Right. I'm like, man, come on, man. But I think Ace is going to be fine. I would have.
Cater Chris Webber.
Get the cater, Ace Bailey.
I like the fit there. Last year they went with Cody Williams, who struggled with being assertive. He was passive, and that's not something that they're going to have to worry about with Ace. So, I'm a big fan of the move. It was kind of like, a power move from Bailey's camp to get out of Philadelphia, but they still ended up, maybe not a spot that they preferred, but they ended up in the situation as far as developmental arc. To where
everything that you want for a basketball move, it makes sense to go to Utah.
I also think it's going to help Cody Williams out. Man, you can't be cool. You can't come out here and swing the ball and try to play the right way every time. You're going to have to be aggressive and assertive, and if you're not, you might not get on the floor. So I love what Utah has done. I love that they're not loyal, in a sense, to any of their previous drafts.
Can't afford to be.
And it's just kind of all right, we're going to have a training camp. It's going to be an open training camp. May the best man win, and we're just going to figure it out. So I actually like that pick there. Tre Johnson at number 6 to Washington. I think Tre Johnson is going to be their leading scorer next year.
Yeah, I think so too. It's a good spot for him. I didn't think Washington would be a location for him, but also I wasn't necessarily buying the Kon Knueppel at 4 talk. Again, if
that was legit. Obviously,
it was obviously legit, but is Kon Knueppel a better shooter than Tre Johnson?
No. The percentages are going to say he is, but
so if you wanted shooting, then you probably should go with the better shooter, even though I do feel like the fit is different, but at the same time, like, I don't know. Tre Johnson in Washington, he's going to have every opportunity to win a Rookie of the Year next year, just based off of usage and style of play. Bubba's going to get him the ball. He's going to learn from some of the older guys when they're out there playing until they, decide to trade C.J. McCollum. So I like the pick.
Now, we're going to talk about the New Orleans Pelicans in the last segment. They took Jeremiah Fears at number 7. We talked about Egor Demin at number 8. We talked about Collin Murray-Boyles at number 9. Let's talk about Khaman Maluach going to the Suns at 10. To me, if there's like a perfect fit, perfect scenario, I like this. The Suns needed size in the middle. They needed a defensive anchor. Who was their center last year?
It was Nick Richards, but correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they just trade for Mark Williams?
Yeah, I did see that.
So why take a center at 10? You just traded for...
You went from no centers to now you got 3.
Now you have 3 run-and-dunk bigs.
And 2 from Charlotte.
And 2 of them are from Charlotte. And, I mean, shoot, Maluach played at Duke, so he's technically from North Carolina as well. I mean, what do we... I don't know.
At one point earlier in this year, they were all
in North Carolina in January.
I actually like the fit. I don't
like it,
the
man.
Mark Williams thing. And,
I don't like it.
Coming into this draft process, I kept saying Charlotte needs to take Maluach at 4 because you need to replace Mark Williams. You can't bring him back.
And they traded him.
They traded Mark Williams. So
to a team that took a big.
I mean, like, we've been saying for a while that there's actually more big men than opportunities.
Yeah.
Like, you look at Atlanta, they weren't able to move Clint Capella last year. You look at Portland, they have way too many bigs. But then you have the Pacers who, like, all their bigs got hurt.
But the Lakers don't have any bigs.
So the Lakers got to be on the phones like, all right, can we get one of these bigs? Maybe, they can get Mark Williams back. I still can't understand, like, who's the one that was like, nah, I'll reject your deposit. All right, Cedric Coward went number 11.
Hey, man, shout out to you, Raf. You got
Memphis Grizzlies.
Shout out to you.
Again, 2 guys that I was high on that in August I wrote about that I thought were going to have big years were Cedric Coward and Hanson Yang. And when I wrote this article, it was August. I knew that people probably weren't going to care about it. And I'm not going to make it seem like I just wrote about those 2. I had Jaren Stevenson in that article. I had Arden Conyers in that article. But I think it was like, and then I had Sergio Delaria in that article. And he actually, I thought he would have been draftable if he stayed in the draft. So, but Cedric Coward, 11, I started to hear that he was climbing. And then yesterday I spoke with his agent. He said anywhere from 10 to 14. Seen him at 11. I mean, I'm a Blazers fan. I would have loved him in Portland, but at Memphis, at 11, I think that's a good fit. He's going to be able to, I think he's going to be able to plug and play. He's going to be able to knock down open shots, defend. So I actually like that pick there.
I'm not mad at it. Like I said, they needed some wing depth after getting rid of, Desmond Bane, and then, KCP. He didn't shoot the ball well. And I don't know what Jalen Wells' timetable is. I know he had a bad injury, but Cedric Coward can play. You wrote about him in August. I've had him as a top 20 pick this entire time. So, shout out to Memphis.
What do you think about Noa Essengue at 12 to the Chicago Bulls?
Interesting pick. I thought he was going to go a little higher. I didn't think Brooklyn would, I really didn't think Toronto would pass on him. But in Chicago, I think you got something brewing there. You got Madas, who's about 6'10". You got Essengue, who's 6'10". And you got 2 active guys on the wing. Madas shot the ball well last year. And Essengue needs to shoot the ball better. But you got 2 active athletes. And,
Josh Giddey passing the ball ahead.
Yeah.
They're going to be racing each other down.
And then you still got Kobe White, who's a hooper's hooper. Yeah. So,
shooting aspect, they got their floor might be a little tight in the half court.
Yeah.
But you know what's good? Giordano's is going to be, or should be, Noa Essengue and Madas his best friend. You got 2 guys that are real thin. And Chicago is a city. If you're thin, Chicago will put some weight on you because they love to eat in Chicago. All right. Carter Bryant, what are your thoughts on Carter Bryant going to the Spurs? I think it's a good fit for him. I think that the appeal of Carter Bryant is kind of tricky because, for me, I'm not taking a guard or a wing in the lottery who averaged 6 points per game in college. That's just me.
Yeah.
I'm all about, like, production. I get promise, but I'm all about production. If you're a big, I get it. Bigs develop slowly, but a wing that average 6 points per game, but he's in a situation where he's not going to need to score. He's going to, if he can knock down open shots and defend, he's going to be able to play.
I don't know if he has a clear pathway to minutes.
Not the way the roster is constructed.
Not the way the roster is constructed right now. And that's not a knock on Collin Murray. Any wing that they would have drafted, you still got to battle Keldon Johnson. You got to battle Devin Vassell. They still got Harrison Barnes. You got to think Wemby's going to play some 4. So it's like Carter Bryant has his work cut out for him. I'm not mad at taking him at 14. I wouldn't say I would have been mad. I just didn't understand him in top 10 talks just because of his playing style. But it's not a bad spot for him at 14.
I want to know if Carter Bryant has the guts to wear a suit with no shirt at his press conference when he meets the San Antonio media.
It's going to be hot, bruh. You might have to wear a suit with no shirt.
Man, is it going to be hot as it is here in New York? I mean, it is. Oh, my God. It is crazy hot. All right, up next, we're going to talk about the New Orleans Pelicans and their draft. When I found out Skims was making underwear for men, I thought, Skims? The Kim Kardashian brand? I thought that was only for women. But if you've had issues with underwear, whether it is fit, comfort, or just finding the right style, Skims has the perfect pair for you. Their men's line offers something for everyone, from boxer briefs to classic briefs, all designed with the perfect balance and comfort of style. If you've tried Skims and their boxer brief, you will be hooked. Here is a testimonial. This is from a Skims customer. He said he tried the boxer brief and he became hooked. They are perfect for his active lifestyle. They move with him. He says they never lose their shape and they stay in place all day. And this is a quote: "Whether I'm working out or just running errands, they're the most comfortable and reliable underwear I've ever owned. Plus the lightweight material feels amazing, almost like you're wearing nothing at all." That is not a quote from me. That is from a customer. He said he feels like he's free balling when he has on a pair of Skims. So check him out at skims.com. Again, check it out, skims.com. I just saw they had a massive Skims store.
Man, I saw the Skims flags, and it was like next to the Estonian flag or something.
Yep. All right, let's talk about the New Orleans Pelicans. Jeremiah Fears at number 7. I like that. What do you think about the fit with the Pelicans?
You know, the rumor is the Pelicans, I was making these picks for the Pelicans because I'm a big Jeremiah Fears fan and a Derek Queen fan. That's what Twitter said. They said I had an inside scoop. But Fears in New Orleans, interesting. I had him going there when I did my last mock, but I didn't think that they were going to trade for Jordan Poole. So that's going to be interesting. But at the same time, you know, you got to think Fears is 18. I don't think it's a bad thing for him to, you know, get some reps off the bench until, you know, he figures it out. And then the Queen pick is interesting because, you know, I know that New Orleans traded all their bigs away, except for Yves Missy, but they took a center last year. And I feel like, you know, Derek Queen is a center. But that's going to be an interesting front court, and almost I feel like that is an insurance move because Zion has a history of injuries. But like Queen and Yves Missy is interesting. Queen and Zion on the floor together is interesting.
Very interesting. I mean, like, so you would imagine their starting lineup is Poole, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Zion Williamson, and
Yves Missy.
So you think Queen comes off the bench?
Queen and Fears come off the bench.
You think so?
I think so.
I mean, but Queen went higher in the draft than Missy. I mean, I know Missy is a rim protector. To me, it's a weird lineup because if you just look at it on the surface, Poole and Murphy are the only floor spacers.
Right.
Zion and Jeremiah Fears want
to get downhill. Right. And that's why those minutes are probably going to have to be staggered. And I feel like we have to start Yves over Queen because of the defense. Like Zion, you know, has to lock in on. He has the talent to. It just is a matter of is he going to lock in on defense. But, you know, New Orleans was like, we're just going to take the best players available and then we'll figure it out. And I'm not necessarily mad at that. But you need a rotation of 3 bigs. And I feel like they have a good rotation of 3 bigs.
So check it out, NBABigBoard.com. I gave out draft grades for the lottery. I gave the Pelicans a C- for the Derek Queen pick.
You'll see the vision. I see what they're trying to do.
Best player available, and I get it. You're just like, hey, best player available. We're gonna.
We'll figure it out.
We're just trying to figure it out, but it's a weird combination of guys. Are they rebuilding, or are they trying to win now? And again, all right, I'll say this much. I didn't think that Alperen Sengun and Steven Adams, I didn't think that front court would be productive, but they were.
Man, all I know is if that's Zion and Queen, like, good luck trying to guard those dudes. I mean, you're obviously going to try to pack the paint, but, like, both of those guys can beat you off the dribble. Both of them can pass. Both of them can make plays.
Yeah.
And both of them can grab and go. You know what, New Orleans? I know people are killing you guys online, but I see the vision.
Well, that wraps up this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast. We are not done here in New York.
We're not even close.
We still have to talk about, we may give grades. We still have to talk about the rest of the first round. There was a lot of movement there. We got to talk about the second round, who is available. So much we got to talk about. We might be able to squeeze in 2 or 3 more podcasts. Once again, it's Rafael and James, and we are out of here.